So over to you, Matthew. Cheers, bud.
Cheers, Davey. Obviously, first off, a lot of it I have to say is thanks to yourself for the support over the last few years. So thanks to you straight off the cuff. So a bit of background on myself. On Thursday, you probably listened to Adam Irvine. Adam Irvine's a school friend of mine. I've known him since I was 12. We've done quite a lot together over the years, done a lot of traveling, lived in East Asia together for a few years, etc., etc. Whenever I came back from Asia, probably when I was 6-7 years ago, got a handy number down at the airport running the Avis Budget rental car desk. Very easy job, 7 to 3, Monday to Friday. You guys know what I'm talking about. Adam was on at me a few times, you'd be brilliant at this, you should come and do this, you should come and do this. I was always a little bit skeptical. However, I decided to take the plunge, moved house, and quit my job in the same week. Maybe I wouldn't advise maybe doing that, but other than that, it was a fantastic decision. Support and the level of help that people get now and what it was like 4.5 years ago whenever I joined Payment Sense, really was financially very hard for the first 6-7 months. But you know what? I believed it could work. And Davey, Adam will tell you the very famous story. After about 7 or 8 months into Payment Sense, I was still probably earning half what I was earning in my previous job. And out of the blue, I got a phone call from a new opening car rental company, and they offered me 40 grand a year, company car, the whole 9 yards. And Adam and I sat on a Friday afternoon, had a pint, and didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to advise either, obviously being a very close friend of mine. I just decided to go with Payment Sense. Best decision of my life, changed my life. Platinum seller now, probably, I don't know, from 4.5 years in, I must be a platinum seller for 3.5 years. Been in the super sellers a couple of times. I've now got my own full-time appointer. Yeah, I mean, it's the dream is real. There's no getting away from it. The dream is real. But I'll tell you one thing, it doesn't come easy. It's a lot of hard work, and you only get back what you put in this job. It's a fantastic job, fantastic company. It's salespeople, staff, and payments on the same hymn sheet. Fantastic, absolutely love it. I don't know what else to say, really. Just fantastic.
Okay, cool. So you've obviously, you've had a very successful career so far, leading up with all products. But with the downtime and with lockdown and stuff, Matthew, obviously, the chip and pin industry has massively dropped. But you've still been able to, do some great numbers. What's working for you? What's the key to the moto? What's working for you?
Well, I think an important thing to note is that, especially if you listened to George and Jan last week, I think they were very on point with the fact that there's always winners and losers in every scenario. I mean, if you talk to people who lived through the Northern Irish Troubles or even World War II, there's still winners and losers in every scenario. And what we have identified in Belfast is that where some businesses have been forced to close, others are absolutely thriving and are doing 3, 4, 5. In some cases, I've seen tenfold of what they have been doing without COVID-19. So obviously, the most important thing is to stay safe, maintain your social distancing, but also there are still great opportunities out there. So with regards to the moto, the first thing I did and had the guys that work for me now do is to go through all your existing list of customers. Again, that might not benefit some of the guys on here that are relatively new to the business, who don't maybe have a massive back book. But for someone like myself, I've 700-800 customers already live. So of course some are closed, but a large portion are still open to some capacity. So I've been contacting all my old merchants and giving them the benefits of the Moto, which I'm sure, I don't know if you want me to go into those details now or whether to go into them if that's the next point. But the Moto is a fantastic product. Obviously, we can offer it to our existing merchants who have terminal leases with us already. We can offer it to them free of charge. It's relatively straightforward to set up. It can be a very in-depth product. I mean, the sky's the limit really. Once you have the merchant management system, there's a lot that you can do with it. But even if it's just a case of, can I take payments without having to see anyone or touch anyone, then the answer is yes. And really, I would say I haven't really called. Well, there's what you get the older merchant who maybe just is not comfortable and is happy to pay the extra charge, but I would say 9 out of 10 existing merchants that I have contacted who want to remain open and don't want who want to be responsible and dealing with sales responsibly have all taken a Moto. It's not really much to it. It's, if there's a need, then they'll take a Moto 100%.
Okay, good man. So you're basically just finding out what kind of, what their business and how their business is running now,
Yeah.
And then just feeding off the back of that.
Yeah,
okay.
Correct. So you've got like sort of, I'm sure all of us have been in the same boat. Every hardware shop you can't get through to because everybody wants to do some work on their house. Every buy and sell on Facebook is now selling fence posts and sheds and these business. If you can get through to them, these guys are in desperate need. Takeaways, any restaurant that's remained open offering a delivery service is now just as busy as ever with lower overheads. They're probably making more money than ever before. There are lots and lots of businesses, hundreds of thousands of businesses across the UK and Ireland that are thriving in this market, which is quite amazing, really, and it shows you the resilience and the entrepreneurial spirit of the country.
Okay, and there's no kind of particular business type that you're approaching. You're just thinking outside the box and just keeping your eyes and ears open for who's open, who's doing business, and who's selling.
Well, if you're one of the guys on here, if you're one of the guys on here with a lot of customers already, A, you probably don't need my advice, but B, you'd be surprised who's very busy, depending on where you live. You'd be surprised who's still open and who's still actually very busy. And also the obvious ones are restaurants that are doing a delivery service, and also takeaways, off licenses are busier than they've ever been, ever. Every kebab shop owner thinks he's a millionaire at the minute, put it that way.
Okay, good man. All right, thanks for that, Matthew. Guys, can we just start getting some questions in? Obviously, there's an opportunity to find out what Matthew's doing. As I say, between him and Julie, the past 6 weeks, they've done somewhere between 60 and 80 e-commerce or Moto deals. So, they're doing things the right way. And as you hear from Matthew there, he's not as such targeting any type business. He's just keeping his eyes and ears open for who might be still trading, and we might be able to help him. So we'll go across. Susanna, have we any questions coming in so far?
We just got a couple of questions. One from Eleanor. What changed after your 6 or 7 months of struggling that triggered your success? What do you think your turning point was?
It started to pay off, I suppose, to cut a long story short. I think, I'm not going to start talking numbers because it's quite easy to work out, really, when you look at, I'm sure anyone could tell you how many customers that I have, and you can easily go on Steve's report and see the LTR that I do. So, I mean, I'm not going to start talking numbers, but I would say probably the happiest moment of my pay business career whenever I earned the same amount of money as I did in my previous job. Regine was actually my RSM. I think at the time that I was going to maybe go back and take salaried employment, and it was around that kind of time. What actually changed for me, though, Alina? I don't know where you live or what sort of market that you're focusing on, but what I actually did was I just picked 2 towns that weren't too far away from me. But also I wasn't a regular, so I didn't know people there, so it was still a completely cold call, but they're about 30 miles away from me, large towns with lots of stuff going on, and I just used to wake up every morning and just drive there, park my car in the same car parking space, and just hit the streets every single day for a couple of months. And probably the first 2 or 3 weeks, I didn't get any deals in, but I kept the record of everyone that I'd spoken to, got what we would say over here, the local crack, the local gossip. And then after a couple of weeks, it just started to turn. You only need 1 or 2, and then it turns into 10, then it turns into 20. And then after a couple of months of just going to those 2 towns a mile apart, I ended up doing about 30 or 40 deals just in those towns. And then, just kicked on from there, really, because as soon as you got that, then you get your appointments. And you just have a lot more confidence as well. The hardest part at the beginning really is the confidence. And I know it's cliche, and I know everyone's said it before, and you probably want some sort of enigma code to how it works, but it is literally just knocking your pan in and not giving up. That's really what it is. And when it turns very quickly. And then you're the man about town, and I've just done this, I've just done that. What about such and such? What about him? And it just goes from there. That's what people want: personable service. Always deliver on what you promise people. That's probably a crucial part. Especially, I don't know if you live in a big city or in a small town, but in Northern Ireland, it's all about word of mouth, and everyone. You can go 200 miles from one side to the other of the country, and that's you done, and everyone knows everyone. So you just got to deliver on what you say it's going to be. And once you've got a few happy customers to talk, here, give such and such a ring, you're in, because everyone needs the service and everyone wants it a bit cheaper. As long as you can deliver on it, you're laughing.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Anthony's asked, how many of your deals are back book versus new business on these Moto accounts at the moment?
On the Moto, I would say it's probably 80%. 80% I would say is back book. 70% is back book. 30% is new business. Now, if you have to bear in mind, Anthony, I don't know, I've no idea what your sort of back book level is, but what I've also found is that if you're ringing local restaurants that are doing delivery, now Facebook is a great way of doing it, because everyone in your local area is posting on Facebook, delivery only, yada yada. I've got a lot of stuff off the back of that as well. You don't need to be your customer, because it's not really the same sell. Selling a new business on Moto is not the same sell as selling them a 36-month lease on a chip pin terminal. The pitch is quite easy. It's just guys, I live around the corner. I know you've been doing deliveries. I'm sure you're absolutely flat out. I can give you a Moto account, virtual terminal. You can take a payment on a phone, on a tablet, on a laptop. You can add different users, so you can have 4 or 5 people taking the payment at the same time. Just leave your because non-secure fees. Obviously, you can't pitch if you're ringing a business not already with you. You can't pitch our exact cost on an over-the-phone transaction, but you do know that every single provider still charges more for taking a CMP transaction. So you can at least let them know that it's going to be more cost-effective, because cafes, bars, restaurants who are doing delivery off-license deliveries or doing food deliveries, it's a fixed fee usually for a CMP transaction. So regardless, they're all low ATV. So if you can get them on a percentage plus the 10p on a Moto, it's always going to be cheaper for them. And you give them so much more flexibility, and you can do it at $9.95 a month plus the PCI. It's 15 quid a month. The way I'm looking at it is, on average, 20 orders is costing you a tenner. You know what I mean? So in a month, even if you take 100 orders, 50 quid, it's paid for itself already. Plus, you've given you that added flexibility. And there's no contract. It's 90-day rolling contract. So, it's just a contract length's ideal, because it's almost like it's designed by default to cover COVID-19. Yeah,
it's brilliant. Yeah, that's really, really good. I think that covered off. There was another question that we had with, like, how do you do your pitch to the ones which aren't your back book customers, that are your brand new customers, which you've covered off, which is fantastic. Another question.
We've got Julie on now, Susanna.
Yeah, it looks like we've got Julie on. Julie, can you?
Hi, guys.
Yay.
Hey,
Okay.
welcome, Julie.
I know it's technical issues, don't we just love it?
You actually have internet up in Edinburgh then, yeah?
Just outside Edinburgh, Falkirk.
So, Julie, we've started a couple of questions, but do you just want to give your to the guys that's on the call and basically how the e-com and Moto is working for you. You know, you're absolutely smashing it out of the park in the kind of past 6 weeks. So do you want to give us a little bit of feedback on all that?
Yeah, I think for customers, I've been listening to Matthew there talking about he's been going to new customers, whereas for me, really right now, it's revisiting with our existing customer base and giving them different options on how to take payments. And they love us for it. You know, they're enjoying Payment Sense being so supportive. And also one of my customers is doing an app called My Local Store Delivers, and that's going down a storm because he's thinking about how can customers, how can new or existing businesses trade in these difficult circumstances.
Cool. And how's it, you know, how are you approaching them, Julie? Are you just cold calling them on the phones, or are you getting referrals from them? What way is that working for you?
Referrals, cold calling, phoning up existing customers, making sure that finding out how they're trading, giving them the Moto, which is, you know, means that they can take payments if they're in the house. They don't have to have the terminal with them. And I think over the last 2 months, it's about 80 docs. 80 Motos and e-commerce has been signed.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Brilliant. And is there any business types in particular, Julie, or is it just spread out across the industries?
Local grocers being one. Hotels are now doing takeaways and giving them that option through obviously Bite Back and Motos that way. Garages as well. Giving them different options because people are not coming in to actually pay over a chip and pin machine now, you know, so it's giving them that option to trade safely as well.
Okay, super, sounds good. Susanna, any more questions coming in there?
Yeah, we got some more questions. So this one's slightly off topic of Moto and e-com, but any tips on getting a customer with a competitor for chip and pin coming to use us for Moto? Discovered that Payzone's Moto contract is 12 months. Is there anything else that you've got? Anything sites that you've got? Maybe about competitors, about what Motos that they can do?
Well, you know, the way I always sell a Moto is that we're not really giving you anything. We're just giving you access to the merchant management system. So, you know, it's very free and easy. I would really stress the fact that I don't find, I think that Julie would be, I'm sure would be the exact same, that Moto's not a hard sell, guys. Anyone out there who's ringing up, it's not a hard sell. You know, you're offering customers the opportunity to take payments more freely, more easily, more flexible. It's definitely. I would say, you know, WorldPay do the same. They have a minimum monthly. Now, WorldPay is the same as us. They'll have you on a 15 or a 19.95 or a 24.95 or 30 quid minimum monthly. Elephant's very similar. Payzone, I wouldn't worry about Payzone. Maybe across the water, Payzone do more damage though. But we blow Payzone away over here. Like absolutely no issues whatsoever with Payzone. You know, 12 month lease on a Moto is a joke, really. So I can't grasp how they're even doing that, quite frankly. However, the Moto is a very, very easy sell. It's more labor intensive, of course. It is a lot more. Admittedly, it's a lot more labor intensive, but you know, customers, there's a massive need for it at the minute. And if you can help a customer out at this time, you know, that's going to pay dividends in 6 months' time when everything's back up. But you made the effort to call them, and some of the customers I've called are literally almost blown away. Oh, Matthew, I can't believe it. Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. You've really pulled me out of my whole way. I didn't know what I was going to do. I've had some customers that I've rang that have told me that I'm actually going to reopen now if this is something that I can do. I'm going to reopen. How much is it going to cost me? Nothing. You know, what are you going to do? Of course, I think Payment Sense have really responded so well to this, and the restaurants, takeaways. Even I've had one greengrocer go for a bite back where he can put like, his main sellers is spuds, his carrots, his cabbages, the juice that everyone loves, the stuff that people always bought, can go on quickly at 10 o'clock at night and order it, and they can deliver it the next day. Like it's fantastic. We're in a very strong position here, guys. It's definitely time to take advantage of it, 100%.
Brilliant, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree with Matthew.
And Julie, can we put this one to you? When you attend an appointment with a merchant, so I think this is, again, a little bit off topic, but it's still questions that guys need answering. So when you attend an appointment with a merchant, but they say that they're too busy and they'll get back to you, how do you convince them to give you their time? So that's more of around an objection, really.
Well, every objection's an opportunity, isn't it? And people buy from people. I think that's, at the end of the day, people buy from people, and if you build a rapport with a customer, they'll always make time for you if you see them being a benefit. If they don't see you as a benefit, they won't give you any time.
So pointing out the benefits to them. Calling.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's all a partnership, isn't it? And I think right now, Payment Centre is very much being a partner to their business, to give them the different options, as Matthew's been talking about, and myself, about trading safely. Because customers are frightened as well about making sure that their staff are safe and they're trading safely. And we have to be seen as a benefit to them and a partner. Sorry, my cat's in this room and he's trying to get out, if you can hear him.
No worries. We've got another question here. What features of e-commerce and Moto do you mainly focus on with customers? Julie, should we come to you with that one?
Yeah, in what regard do you mean by that? What it comes back to having, long gone are the days, and especially now, customers are not, as we're customers, aren't we? And if we can buy online to keep ourselves safe, that's what we will do. And customers are going to have to, our merchants are going to have to realise that the world that we live in is different to what we lived in last year. And it's all about how they're going to trade moving forward. So it's all going to be online. It's all going to be about deliveries, etc. And because a lot of these guys have got small shops that can't have people coming in and be safe and have the 6 feet difference. Well, not the difference, but the 6 feet to make sure that customers are safe. So it's all about not convincing them, but they'll understand themselves that the way they're going to have to trade is different.
So if you don't
Can I jump in there, Susanna, as well, though? Because
of course,
with a Moto sale, but you have to bear in mind that, let's just see, for example, Julie mentioned greengrocers. Greengrocers, as she says, local shops. People are scared now to go to Tesco. Tesco delivery is a 6-week waiting list. People are scared to go into town to go to the large shops. The local butcher, the local greengrocer, he is busier now than he was at Christmas. It's the busiest he's ever been. Now, what you have to bear in mind is that I've had a few that are closed to the public, but you can ring, you can order, you can pay, and then they'll give you the box out. Now, you probably signed this customer up 2 years ago, and on the switcher statement that you used to present the savings, there wasn't any CMP, because greengrocers didn't have CMP transactions. It didn't exist before. So it's important to note that FDMS charge 50p on a debit card transaction for a payment taken over the phone. I'm not sure how many guys on this know that, but it's 50p. So, on a low ATV business, and literally all the businesses that are very busy now during this pandemic are all low ATV businesses. 50p adds up very, very quickly. So as much as a safety perspective comes into play, which I totally agree with, by the way, once a customer hears that it's costing 50p, they're going to start typing their customer's card number in to the terminal, 50p a pop. They're on board, trust me. They're very, very much on board with whether they have to go and dust off the laptop, their daughter's laptop, and bring it into work. They will do it, believe me.
Yeah, and also, Matthew, is it's key to point out as well, it's 0.5% on a credit card transaction as well, the uplift for CMP. So once you start, as Matthew's talking about, the money side of it, then customers really do, the objection that comes back is 11p a transaction uplift on a whereas right now I'm only 4p an authorisation fee, and you're asking me 4p plus 11p. But once you explain, well, it's better than 50p, then they really sit up in terms of the savings that can be made. And I know somebody's asked about giving free motos. I don't give a free moto because I think that devalues the facility.
Yeah.
I don't know, Matthew, do you give a free moto? I never give a free moto.
Depends, really. It depends on the customer. I'd say it's probably 50-50.
Okay, we've got some more questions coming through. We've got one here from Freddie, which I know around this question, we've been discussing it as well. What experience do you have with an e-commerce and Sage Pay? So I believe Sage Pay integrates with Sage Accounting. And I know he's going to do a mid only for the e-commerce, but it's the same with the moto. Have you come across a moto system with WorldPay, which also integrates with Sage Pay? Have you come across that? Have you?
Sage Pay is a mid only, so that's slightly different. Whenever you go to the option and how the monthly charge, you do a mid only for Sage Pay. Sage Pay is mid only. You get the merchant ID and you send it to Sage Pay, and Sage Pay actually usually are relatively forthcoming. Terminals, if it's a terminal, it's slightly more challenging. There's a few forms that need to be filled out and sent in. It's still not rocket science, but you have to do that. But if they're just using Sage Pay on their website or on their accounting software, it's just a merchant ID that you need. So you just need to get it approved. But the important part is at the quick sign stage, select mid only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. And this question to both of you. How much do you make on average per deal, and what offer do you generally put together? Do you charge the annual or the monthly gateway fee? We go to you, Julie, first.
Yeah, no, just a monthly gateway fee, and I charge, and I charge 1% for debit and credit, and that usually generates on a moto about 900 LTR, and on e-commerce I think is about 780. Brilliant,
that's not too bad at all, is it? If you're doing 1%. And Matthew, what's your general average deal LTR and is it that you put together?
Sorry, I've just got an error message coming through. 1 second. There we go. Usually, if it's an existing customer, I just match what they're on and give it to them free. That's what, to be honest. If it's there's no point brass necking it. If it's an existing customer who's making me a good residual, then I just give them it free on the same rates. If it's a new customer, I would do, the best I got was, if you do $9.95 gateway and 2% on all cards, yeah, it's about the same as Julie said, that's about $890 or 900 or something along those lines. Again, this job is all about, thinking strategically. So, if you've for what I can see, the businesses that I've sold the moto to freshly that I don't know, I'm very much expecting to sign them up for a chip and pin deal post COVID-19. And all the guys that are new, a lot of the newly cards are all taking it, because as Julie has mentioned there as well, a lot of the takeaways are going for it. So a lot of my newly cards, I'm still selling quite a lot of chip and pin deals as well, because a lot of the Chinese and a lot of the guys who didn't want to sort of get hit with the extra charges before are now just literally saying, well, if I don't take card, I may as well close up. So those guys are getting the extra e-com. And I tell you guys, when you are offering to build a website, now I know it's just a menu, but when you're offering to build a website for a customer free of charge, or whatever way, if you want to charge them for typing it up or whatever you want to do it. They're all, that's also a free one. They're all going for it. They all want a free website with their menu available where they can post on Facebook, go to my website and check out my menu. That's a good angle as well for the e-com.
Brilliant. Using the bite back that we've got.
Everyone takes bite back, Susanna. Everyone takes it. There's literally no, you can't really offer it. The only downside is the Chinese usually have about 400 items on their menu, and they have to reduce it to 30 or 40, obviously, for the buyback. But other than that, there's pretty much no one says, "Do you want a free website where people can order online?" It's obvious, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. In this current situation, a free website, yeah, they'll bite your hand off for it.
Yeah.
Are there any non-typical businesses that you've ended up offering a Moto to that you would have? It's ended up that you've offered the Moto, but you would have thought before, oh, there's no way that they would be open. Any sort of random businesses?
Well, you have to look, again, that's about thinking outside the box. Again, the guys live, it's a very, I suppose this is probably split 50-50 between the participants on here. It depends really whether you live in the city or whether you live in the countryside. Farmers have to farm, you know what I mean? So read into that however you want to read into it, but it's pretty self-explanatory. We've still got to feed the nation. So go from there was my advice.
And Julie, have you had any strange types of businesses that are still open?
No, all the businesses that I've been dealing with are the ones that are being told to stay open by the government. Everything else is obviously shutting down. So it's all the typical, it's no atypical, it's all very much typical businesses.
Brilliant. Okay, we've got another question from Darren. I can cover this one off. So if we have a PaymentSense customer with a terminal, if we add Moto or Ecom, where do we need statements, or is it just an add-on LTR? So just to cover that off, with if they're an existing PaymentSense customer, you can then add a Moto or an Ecom, but they are separate MID numbers. So they'll it's a new application, you will get LTR for it. Absolutely. It's not like just an add-on, like an additional terminal or anything like that. You've got a new MID number for Moto and a new MID number for the e-commerce. We've also had a question from Rachel. Have you combined e-commerce and Moto with Biteback, and what has been your approach? I think Matthew just covered that off, that he's obviously using Biteback quite a lot with the Moto side of things.
If that's Rachel, though, I want to jump in there and just say that I'm not sure. This is maybe actually a question from me as well, because last week in particular, a lot of places reopened takeaways a lot. So what we're finding now is that the two different ways. I'm sure you've done the other webinars, but what some of the guys are scared of is that if they go for a straight e-com buyback, that they're going to get 100 orders in 20 minutes as soon as they open, because people are sick of cooking. Everyone wants a kebab or a pizza or a burger delivered to their door. So do we have something in place? So what Just Eat does is Just Eat they can hit a button on their Just Eat that will say delayed 30 minutes, and the customer will get a text message to say that we can't do it. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but these takeaways are really that busy, especially the ones. You've got a few now that are really well-known local ones that have been closed for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they've opened up again, and boom, it's just going absolutely haywire. It's going to be really busy. You've got the little sort of slop house, three on the hygiene rating places that are never going to be that busy. So I'm telling those boys to go for just a straight e-com. I've also told them to set up, whenever they're signing, I've said, listen, start a completely fresh business email address, even if you just add a 1 on at the end or whatever it is to your existing email. Just set up a completely new email address, have your phone or your tablet just beside your Just Eat machine, and then take every order that way, and you should be able to manage it.
Brilliant.
But these are the really, really, really busy places. You'll know them. You'll know them, guys. It's the right that's reopened. For those guys, I've told them to go more for the Biteback Moto, so they can control how many orders that they take, because
and whether they can cope with that flow or not.
customers money and then you can't fulfill the order. Like, it's just no good.
Yeah. We've got another question here from Anthony. Julie, I'll put this on to you. Any tips on how to go about switching a customer from an existing e-commerce provider, such as Square online stores? The rates are higher, but the basket and the checkout is already integrated into the customer's site. Any tips on how you can get those switched across?
I've been switching. I'll be honest with you, I've got one to do right now, and we need to get them to get an independent gateway because it's through Yale and we don't integrate with Yale, so they're going to have to get an independent gateway. The vast majority of e-commerces that I've been switching are Stripe customers.
Stripe. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, and Stripe is used extensively out there.
So what would you say the downfalls of Stripe are? Why are you winning so much business from them?
It's extortionate. Absolute extortion. I think it's 1.8% and 20 pence a transaction.
Wow.
It's absolutely extortionate. Stripe is, but the thing is, customers don't know any better. You know, they set up a website, their website provider uses Stripe, and they just go with them. And it's so expensive.
Can I just jump in there as well and just say that I think Big Matty Light posted into the Champions League group maybe a month ago to say that Stripe had now introduced a 14-day settlement protocol. Would that be?
Oh, had
does
they? Right,
anyone
okay.
have any? I'm not sure. I'm the opposite. I don't see Stripe over here at all, really. But apparently they're holding the money for a lot longer because of COVID-19. Right, okay. They're holding the money for a lot longer.
I've not heard that. The only thing that I hear that back is obviously Just Eat. So for us because Just Eat do that, they give the settlement to the customers on a Friday, minus their commission. And one of my guys has been paying £3,400 a week in commission to Just Eat.
Wow, that's a ridiculous amount of money when they can have their own website. You know, each time they do delivery, just putting the leaflet.
Yeah.
Like that's absolutely crazy, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got another question from Tony.
What do I do a lot with the guys?
Now go ahead, Matthew, please.
What I was going to say was, you know, especially at the minute with the new cards, because Just Eat and Uber Eats, I think it's 36%, Deliveroo, etc. A good way of getting those guys on board is you sort of you let them become an entrepreneur. So you say to them, right, guys, what you need to do is the next time that guy delivers a Just Eat, you tell the customer on delivery the next time that they call in, they get a 10% discount, or they get a free bottle of Coke or whatever, because 20% or in some cases 15% down to hopefully 2%. Such a massive reduction that they sort of buy into that. They get on board. Oh yeah, I could do that. I'll get the guys to do that. I'll put my business hat on and I'll get a bit of that going. So it's usually quite an easy sell.
Yeah, it's a brilliant idea that they can then just get a
really easy sale
through direct from the restaurant, which is actually going to cost the restaurant less than if they're just putting it through Just Eat. So we've got another question from Tony. Julie, this is for you, because it says Julie mentioned garages and people not using chip and pin. Can Julie elaborate, please? Is that fuel payments that you're referring to, or what is it? So a garage is not, how's that working? Or are you meaning MOT garages?
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Farak's question, sorry. It's mechanic. It's garages, it's not fuel payments, because if you look at the switched on garages are actually using their nights, not their night safe, but the night, whatever you call them, when you pay at night. A lot of these garages for petrol are using that, but it's for the window, thank you. So it's garages that do MOTs and servicing, etc.
Okay. Brilliant. We've got a question from Jay, but again, I think I should be able to cover this. Also, it is not true is it not true that along with First Data, if you're with First Data and you do too much CMP, that they'll actually close the account? It's more to do with like the trading side of things. So every time set up for a chip and pin, it will be maybe a normal situation might be trading at 20% CMP. And obviously at the moment, everything's become 100%. I would have thought that First Data at the moment would be taking that into consideration, considering obviously situation we are. However, because it is trading outside of their normal trading behaviour, it may become an issue. So there's even more reason to get in contact with your existing customers and offer them the Moto side of things. So Farak, one of his questions is, do you get a lot of referrals from this as well? And that's to Matthew, sorry, he put that to Matthew.
I usually have Farak's customers calling me, asking me to sign them up.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I'm only joking. Yeah, of course, yeah, you do. You do get a lot of that, because I'll tell you, nobody else is doing it. Nobody is reaching out. Honestly, no one is doing it. No one's reaching out trying to help anyone at the minute. Everyone's on furlough, sitting with the trotters up, just, you know, in the garden, the sun's shining, you know, I'm getting a decent wage. Why do I have to bother? That's what's happening with WorldPay, Elavon, Pays. There's no one working. I don't know about Scotland, but over here, there's no one working apart from us. So the fact that you're even bothering to ring them, yeah, I would say if I've done 28 or 30 deals this month, at least 15 of them are referrals, yeah, are all referrals, because you've helped one person out. Oh, mate, you need to call this guy as well. Because people don't, let's be completely frank about it, we don't get paid that well on motos. None of the sellers do. WorldPay don't get any commission for selling a virtual terminal unless it's over 250k turnover. So, you know, no one's selling this. No one really ever has massively pushed it. So it's a completely new thing. So the fact that you're going to call up a customer and offer them a product that doesn't cost them anything, they love it, and they really do think, yeah, we are getting paid a few bob off it, but people don't realise that, and they really think that we're going over and above to do this. They genuinely do. I've never seen customers as thankful, put it that way.
One thing I was going to, if I can just jump in there, they also really appreciate the payment holidays with terminals. They really customers really appreciate that. So another, you know, way you can sell motors by saying, you know, the company is offering payment holidays on the terminals, because they know that the way that you're going to be trading is different right now. So they appreciate that as well. They appreciate every bit of support that we can give them, may it be, you know, giving them a motor in e-commerce, or, you know, payment holidays on their terminals, and they're appreciating people, you know, touching base with them, making sure everything's okay.
Brilliant. So we've just got a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap up. So we've got a question from Andy. So if the lead comes from Just Eat, can they then put the lead through us for payment? Would there not be a legal implication for the client? I think what Matthew was explaining there is that instead of that, they still use Just Eat, and people start and carry on doing that, and then that brings the customers to that particular restaurant, and then Matthew's enabling that merchant to use his entrepreneurial skills and say, look, he knows that it costs him 30% through Just Eat. Instead of that going through Just Eat, he'll then go to that customer and say, look, if you just come direct to me, maybe there's a code, or I'll give you 10% off or 20% off. So it wouldn't actually be another order coming through Just Eat. It's you're taking them, you're using Just Eat to bring the traffic to them and bring the customers, but then you're taking the customers from there and trying to get them to come directly to you.
Can I also just say about Just Eat is taking
the key here is that it's a bit like Steve using the whole journey tactic with us. That's clearly worked fantastically well. You're doing that the same way with your merchant, whether it be some, you know, kebab shop at the top of a high street. Doesn't matter. You're doing the exact same thing to him. You're putting the ball in his court. You're making him feel like an entrepreneur. You're making him feel like a businessman. You're going to have to come up with an idea of how to sell this to your customers. That's the whole technique. He's not really thinking about, am I going to get this? Am I not going to get it? He's getting it. He's thinking about, well, okay, how am I going to sell this to my customers. I've got this great product. How am I going to sell it? That's the technique.
Brilliant. Julie, what was that you were
Yeah, I was just going to say, following on about Just Eat. Just Eat right now, I think there's a waiting list of 6 weeks, and they were charging, I think, it was either £700 or £800 to get signed up, but it takes a hell of a long time to get a customer with Just Eat, and it's very expensive. Whereas with our Bite Back, that it's done within a week, and they appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to have one last question because I'm really conscious of the time. Are you doing all sales on the phone and email, and email, or are you also doing calls? I presume, meaning, are you doing calls? I presume that they mean out and about, and that's from Vivian, but I wouldn't have said that any of you guys will be out and about at the moment.
I'm out and I'm not doing calls, but if I have to go and see a customer like I've just done, I've had a mask on and gloves, and we've kept our social distancing. But everything's over the phone or by email, and my phone never stops with customers phoning me. So yeah, if I don't need to go out, I'm not going out.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you very much, guys. I'm going to wrap it up now because we have been on the call for quite some time. Thank you to Julie, and well done for your persistence.
Thank you.
We do really appreciate your time, and thank you ever so much, Matthew, for all of your time. And look forward to a session later this week on Thursday, and more information will be sent to follow. David, have you got anything else to add at all?
Yeah, guys, just again, a big to Julie and Matthew for their time this afternoon. And a big thing that I picked up from today's message is, guys, your business is still open. All right, that's the big thing about it. I think the two guys on the call today have really shown us different ways to attack the merchants out there, and we're what we need. We're what they need. They need us at the minute. So just get busy. Just get speaking to as many people. It's the same thing. Keep speaking to as many people as you can, and have a structure, have a plan, and then just go out and make things happen. So I think we can all take a lot of positives from today, and yeah, look forward to watching you all close many more deals in the coming weeks on the e-commerce model. So I say another call on Thursday, same time, 3 p.m. We're going to have two different top sellers again on with us, and they're going to be explaining and giving us healthy tips on what they've been doing during the downtime with e-commerce model as well. So again, thanks, guys. Have a great day, stay safe, and we will touch you all on Thursday. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks, bye.
Cheers, guys.
Keep
Thanks.
safe.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.